Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going deep on the Murdaugh murders.
Oh, yeah.
It's been everywhere. And you guys sent a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Articles, legal stuff, even some podcast clips. So
You really want to get into it, huh?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
We want to go past just the headlines, right?
Absolutely. You want the whole picture, the legal battles, the evidence, even the psychology.
All of that. Okay, so I think everyone knows about the murders of Maggie and Paul.
Yeah.
But what gets me is this whole dynasty falling apart.
It's wild.
The Murdaughs weren't just rich and powerful. They were the top prosecutors for like a century.
3 generations, all that power in a small place like that. It's no wonder people thought they were untouchable.
Makes you think about those old rumors of corruption, maybe even messing with juries way back.
Oh, yeah. Decades ago.
There's that thing with Randolph Murdaugh Jr. in the 50s, got cleared of conspiracy charges.
Right.
If that was true, what else did they get away with?
And that's what makes that boat crash so important in 2019. It's not just some accident. It was the first crack in their perfect image.
Because it was Alex's son, Paul Wright, driving the boat, probably drunk, when Mallory Beach died.
Yeah, 19 years old.
Suddenly everyone's watching, wondering if they'll protect Paul from the fallout.
From everything we've seen, that's when all these other suspicious deaths tied to the Murdaughs started coming out.
Like pulling a thread on a sweater, just keeps unraveling.
Exactly.
There's Stephen Smith, died in 2015. First they said hit and run, then it's homicide.
Right.
All those rumors about Buster, Alex's other son.
No charges, and he denies it, of course, but
But they reopened the case after everything else happened. That says something.
definitely.
Then there's the housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, died in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
At first it was just a fall, right?
Trip and fall accident.
But looking deeper, it's messy.
It really is.
Alex might have made money off her death from a wrongful death settlement. Can you explain that? I think I get it, but
Sure. Basically, someone dies because of someone else's actions, and there's an agreement where the responsible party pays the family.
so like a legal payout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In this case, the money was supposed to go to Gloria's sons, but
But Alex took it. Millions.
allegedly, yes.
Wow. Taking advantage of his housekeeper's death.
It's ethically questionable, for sure.
And they dug up her body later to look into it more.
Exhumed, yeah. They clearly thought it wasn't just an accident.
So we have the boat crash. Stephen Smith, Gloria Satterfield. It's like warning signs before an earthquake.
Foreshadowing.
And that earthquake hits in June 2021. Maggie and Paul are murdered at their place. Moselle.
Brutally murdered. Multiple shots, different guns. It felt like a message.
What kind of rage, what desperation makes someone do that to their own family?
As they investigated, suspicion fell on Alex pretty quickly.
But this wasn't just a murder case anymore. This was about to expose a whole lot more.
Layers and layers.
Financial crimes, schemes, the whole thing. But before we go there, anything stand out to you so far? Any patterns?
What strikes me is how it all points to someone who might use their power to get away with things. Over and over again.
It does seem like one thing leads to another, and the stakes get higher each time.
Like a snowball.
Right. And when we look at Alex's alleged money stuff, you'll see how that pattern gets even stronger.
Oh, yeah, much stronger.
Okay, so let's get into that. The prosecution said Alex killed Maggie and Paul to cover up his money problems, right?
That's the main idea. They say he was stealing millions from his law firm, clients, even from Gloria Satterfield's settlement.
So much betrayal.
So much.
And the sources detail these crazy schemes. It wasn't just taking money, he was manipulating people.
Vulnerable people who trusted him.
There's even that thing with the quadriplegic man.
Awful. He took advantage of the people closest to him over and over.
So basically they're saying he was about to be exposed, so he did something horrific to change the narrative, buy himself time.
And it's a chilling theory, but they had the evidence. Financial records, shady deals, all pointing to Alex.
It's like a crime novel, except it really happened. Real people got hurt. But before we get to the trial, there's one more crazy thing. Alex tries to kill himself.
Oh, yeah. Even crazier than everything else.
September 2021, he says he got shot while changing a tire on some back road.
It's a bad movie.
And it was a bad movie he directed. He hired someone, Curtis Edward Smith, to shoot him.
A former client of his.
Can you believe that?
Shows how desperate he was.
The prosecution said he wanted to die. So Buster, his son, would get $10 million from life insurance.
$1 million.
What a plan. But it blew up in his face. Instead of sympathy, people just thought he was hiding something even worse.
It's when the mask really started to slip. People saw him less as a grieving dad, more as someone behind all this.
And that's when the investigation really changes. It's not about who did it anymore. It's all about Alex.
They connect the dots, follow the money, build a case that leads to the trial.
This is getting good. Powerful family, boat crash, suspicious deaths, double murder, fake suicide attempt. What's next?
Next, we're going to court. The evidence, the lawyers, the verdict. And we'll look at those other deaths, too. Still so much to uncover.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Before we got into all that, we were talking about Alex trying to, end it all.
Yeah, stage his own death.
Exactly. Shows how much pressure he was under, all his lies falling apart.
Yeah, like he had nowhere to go. Money problems, his crimes about to be exposed.
And his drug problem. Can't forget that.
Oh, right, the opioids.
Alex admitted to being addicted for years. Said he was taking, get this, 60 oxycodone pills a day.
60.
A day. Every day. He even said that's why he did all that financial stuff, that and paranoia.
That's insane. Makes you think about how bad it must have been, out of control.
For sure. But can addiction really explain all those crimes? That's the thing.
Right, like was he using it as an excuse? Or was he so messed up he didn't know what he was doing?
That's the question the jury had to figure out.
Trying to separate truth from lies, a guy with a drug problem versus a master manipulator.
Exactly. And that's what made the trial so interesting. Not just guilty or not guilty, but why? What was going on in his head?
The whole world was watching. This guy, so powerful, now accused of killing his own family.
What a story.
So what did they have on him? What evidence did the prosecution use?
Oh, they had a lot. Financial records, phone data, people who saw things.
Real thorough.
They showed how much debt he was in, the schemes, how he tried to cover it all up. Basically, a desperate man.
Driven to the edge.
Right. But the biggest thing was a video from Paul's phone, taken minutes before the murders, and guess who's there?
Alex, no way.
Alex at the crime scene. He said he wasn't even close, but the video proved he was lying.
His own son's phone caught him.
Yeah.
Crazy how that happened.
Technology, man. So he had to change his story, admit he lied.
Did they connect the money stuff to the murders?
Oh, yeah. They said he was about to be exposed, so he killed Maggie and Paul to get sympathy, distract everyone, buy himself time.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah. What about the defense? What was their side?
What'd they say?
They said Alex was a loving husband and dad, trapped by his addiction. That he would never hurt his family.
Trying to make him seem human.
Exactly. Not a monster, just a guy with problems. They even said someone else might have done it.
Like who?
They pointed to that boat crash trial coming up. Maybe someone wanted revenge on Paul.
So the jury had two very different stories.
Two sides of the same coin.
What's been tough for them? All that evidence, the arguments, trying to find the truth.
Oh, it was intense. You could feel it in the room. The media, the pressure, everyone waiting.
And then the verdict? What happened?
Guilty on all charges. 2 life sentences, no parole.
Wow. They believed the prosecution.
They did. Alex Murdaugh, convicted of killing his wife and son. End of story, right?
Not quite. What about those other deaths? Gloria Satterfield, Stephen Smith.
Still open. Alex is in prison, but there might be more to find out.
What about the money he stole? Did they get any of it back?
Some, but millions are missing. The victims, Gloria's sons, those clients, they're still fighting for it.
It's not over for them, even with the conviction.
It's a long road.
This case really makes you think about how one person's actions can affect so many others.
It's a ripple effect.
Families destroyed, a whole community shaken up.
Because this guy, someone they trusted, turned out to be capable of terrible things.
It makes you question everything. Who can you trust? What's real and what's fake?
And it shows how power and money can corrupt people, even those who seem like pillars of the community.
It's scary to think about, but it's important to remember the victims.
Absolutely. Their families, their friends, they're the ones who are truly suffering.
They deserve justice,
Yeah.
and they deserve to be heard.
We can't forget them amidst all the drama and intrigue.
So as we keep digging into the Murdaugh case, let's do it with empathy, trying to understand not just what happened, but why it happened and who it hurt.
I think that's the best way to approach it, looking for answers and remembering the human cost of it all.
We've talked about the murders, the lies, the trial, but there's more to this story.
Oh yeah, a lot more. We have to look at the bigger picture.
Like, what does this case tell us about society? About ourselves?
Right.
What can we learn from it?
That's what we'll talk about next. The implications, the lessons, what it all means in the end. And now we got to step back a bit, see the bigger picture. What can we learn from all this? How do we stop this from happening again?
Good point. We saw how power and privilege, when no one checks it, can lead to corruption. even violence.
It shows us that no one is above the law.
Yeah.
Rich, powerful, famous family, none of that matters. Actions have consequences.
Something that really struck me was the media, how huge this whole thing became.
Oh, yeah. It was everywhere. Podcasts, documentaries, news, 24/7.
Does that affect things? Did all that attention change the trial? Change how people saw Alex?
It's hard to say for sure. And what about the victims? Did their voices get lost in all the noise?
Right. Finding that balance, keeping people informed, but respecting those who are hurting.
And social media, too. This was all over the internet.
Everyone had a theory.
People playing detective, spreading rumors, even harassing people involved.
Social media can be a good thing, but man, it can twist things too.
Absolutely. We have to be careful, think critically about what we see online, especially with sensitive stuff like this.
Beyond this specific case, there are bigger issues here. The opioid problem, not just with Alex, but everywhere.
It's a crisis. Affects everyone, rich or poor, doesn't matter. We need to talk about it honestly, get help to those who need it.
And families, how complicated they can be.
The Murdaughs, perfect on the outside, but who knows what was going on behind closed doors?
Makes you think, what's a good family anyway? Even those who seem to have it all, they might be struggling too.
We need to understand that. Be there for families who are hurting, no matter what it looks like on the surface.
And the justice system, does it really treat everyone the same? Or do money and connections matter?
Alex was convicted, but his case makes you wonder. Everyone should have a fair chance. Good lawyers, no one taking advantage.
This whole deep dive, it's been dark. Lies, power, ambition gone wrong. But we learned a lot too.
It makes you think about your own life, your community, what's important.
This case, it exposed some hard truths. But it also made us ask questions, important questions.
Keep asking those questions. Talk about these issues. Think critically. That's how we make things better.
That's how we learn from the past, prevent future tragedies.
Exactly. We can't let this just be another story we forget about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Remember, there's always more to the story than we see at first.
Keep digging, keep questioning, keep learning.
And most importantly, keep caring